Welcome to Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Cody. To my right, the Swami George Abraham. To my left, the Tiger Albert Campman. And this show, this month of October, marks our 19th year on the air. Hard to believe, guys, but we want to thank Armstrong for this great opportunity for us to have this show.
Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, the fans have been outstanding.
Great. Yes, without a doubt.
Our producers, Carmen at first, and Matt right now. Matt's outstanding. Welcome back, Matt, by the way.
Yes, welcome back, Matt, after he had some major surgery. Yes. He's back. We're ready to go again. And,
a lot of sports to cover, too, Eddie.
A lot of stuff to cover. And let's get started. Let's go to Spotlight High School football. Top passers. Tom Arth, North Catholic, threw for 374 yards. Alec Teff of Butler, 189. Cody Mullen of Knock, 182. Kyrell Harris of Newcastle, 167. Aaron Strader, Pine Richland, 150. He's a sophomore. You got to see this kid. He's a dynamic dual threat player. And Brady Brinkley of North Allegheny, 141. Rushing leaders, Amos Glenn, Freeport, 244 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns.
How many?
6. Elijah Palmer of Elwood City, 191. He's having another good year. He's a terrific player. Albert, is he a Division I player?
No.
He's not.
No.
Eric Kasparovich of Mars, 111. Robbie Janis of Riverside, 108. Cody Mullen of Knock, 103. That gives him 295 total yards in that game. And receiving, Ryler Kennedy, North Catholic, caught 11 passes for 140 yards. Nate McKnight of Newcastle, 4 for 130. Jack White of North Catholic, 6 for 93. Quinlan Hanley of Butler, 7 for 83. And Caden Spencer of Knock, 5 for 80.
I just want to step in and say something, but Elijah's a Division I kid.
Okay.
And I will take that any time over being a Division I.
I don't know. What is his size?
I'd say he's about 6 foot, 190, something like that.
Good speed?
Like decent speed. That's what will stop him in Division I. Yeah.
All right, let's go to our power rankings. And let me say this. You'll see. I'm not ranking any teams with a losing record. In 6A, it's Central Catholic at the top. They're 4-2 by virtue of a 27-14 win over North Allegheny last week. NA drops to number 2. They're 5-1, and that's it. Every other team in 6A has a losing record. There's no competitive balance there.
No, did you see that NA game the other day? They fair caught a punt and tried a free kick field goal from 60.
Yes.
Didn't get it. And the kid claims he can kick it.
He can kick.
Yeah, but the point is they can't rush it. You put it on the tee and you just kick it.
And another kid, I forget what school, kicked a 55-yard field goal.
I did see that.
Remember, we played, it was something to make an extra point.
That's the major change in football. I told George. The thing that's changed the most in football. The kickers kick 60-yarders now, 55-yarders, like it's in their
They
sleep.
come out in the 50s. You know what's going through.
Yeah.
And what helps, of course, the field conditions.
They're doing it in high school. Think about that. They're doing it in high school, too.
Yeah, field turf, though. You got a point there.
Let's go to 5A, and I think this arguably is the best classification, the most competitive division. Pine Richland at the top, 5-0. Followed by Upper St. Clair, 6-0, Bethel Park, 6-0, South Fayette, 6-0, and Peters Township, 5-1.
And how about I'll take Peters Township? They're the one with the one loss. That's one I like.
Yeah. And in 4A, I have at the top Montour, 5-0, followed by Thomas Jefferson, 6-0, Aliquippa, 3-1, Char Valley, 3-2, Newcastle, 4-1, and what a nice job. I know they got blown out by the Quips, but new coach Fred Mazzaccio has done a tremendous job here in Turney. They haven't won 4 games in their last 3 years. They have 4 this year. Mm-hmm. And then 3A at the top, Imani Christian, 6-0, Deer Lake, 6-0, Avonworth, 4-2, Beaver, 4-2, and Freeport getting back in there at 4-2. And in 2A, for the first time ever, number 1, Elwood City, 5-0. And what a job Coach Dan Bradley's done there.
Yeah, they deserve it. This team has been primed since junior high to be good, and they're proving their worth.
Number 2, St. LaSalle, 5-0, followed by South Park, South Allegheny, and Still Valley. And in 1A, number 1, Westinghouse, followed by Fort Cherry, Clareton, Bishop Canevin, and Neshannock. Let me say something about Westinghouse. I was at the Westinghouse Butler game, and Butler jumped out 17-0 lead. And there were some calls there that hurt Westinghouse, a 50-yard kickoff return called back. So I watched Coach Donta Green. I didn't see him get bent out of shape one time. I saw him and his assistant coaches pull players aside and coached them through that first half. So they were losing 17-0. I don't know what he said at halftime, but they came back like gangbusters and outscored Butler 28-0 in the second half.
Yeah, you like those coaches that coach.
Yes.
That's what they're paid to do.
All right, let's go to our stories of the week. After a great 3-0 start, headed by their outstanding defense, the Steelers stumbled in Indianapolis to the Colts 27-24. The defense, which was dominant the first 3 games, gave up 358 yards to the Colts, 133 rushing, 225 pass, only 2 sacks. And Watt, I'm not sure what they did, but I'm sure other teams will want to copy. He was held to only 2 assisted tackles, and the Steelers had just a total of 2 sacks. A half here, a half there. Anthony Richards, he got the Colts started. He looked pretty good. 3 or 4 passing, hit that first long bomb. I didn't know. He was number 1 in the NFL with pass completions of 40 yards or more. But he gets hurt running the ball. They take a 7-0 lead. Their second drive, Flacco comes in. And 39-year-old Joe Flacco is 16-26, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I don't know what you guys see, but the Steelers secondary is average, but they get no help from the linebackers and the coverage of tight ends. So the middle's always been open. That's been like their Achilles heel in their pass defense, and Flacco took advantage of it.
Well, that game, but they've been great all year. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a 4-game thing, not a 1-game.
Right.
If you would have said at the beginning of the year, we're going to go 3-1 with 3 games on the road, I think most people would have said, we'll take it. And they're right where they're supposed to be. That's who the Steelers are. They're not a 7-0 team. They're 3-1 is really good. As you look at the rest of the league, Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Cleveland, struggling. Baltimore has the most talent.
Yeah.
But Pittsburgh's right where they're supposed to be.
Now, here's the thing about Flacco. I didn't realize this. He's 12-13 in his career against the Steelers and has thrown for 30 touchdown passes against them. You kind of wonder, why did Cleveland let him go?
Yeah.
If you were to ask the Cleveland receivers who they prefer to be their quarterback privately, they tell you Flacco.
No doubt.
Well, it's known.
They were 4-1, took them to the playoffs.
It's known that they didn't want him there so people wouldn't question Watson all the time.
That's a valid point.
And also, Tomlin, he talked about, playing against Flacco was so much different than playing against Richardson.
Absolutely. Hey, here's what I don't understand. That Justin Fields was tremendous. 22-34, 312 yards, a touchdown, no interception. Did he have a fumble? Yes. He rushed for 55 yards and 2 TDs. And don't blame him for this loss. I heard some Steeler fans say,
So they are.
let's go to Russell Wilson. What? This kid was tremendous. So ball hit off his face mask. That happens with a lot of exchanges in the game. But you blame the defense for this, and that's some questionable things by Mike Tomlin going for it at a 4th and 1 in his own 39. And here's the puzzling thing. He was asked, why wouldn't you put Fields maybe under center and hand off to Najee Harris? Of course, you could argue Najee had 13 carries for 19 yards. And Tomlin's answer was, everybody in the league runs a shotgun and a pistol, which I don't know what's that answer mean.
Yeah.
The lemming philosophy.
He has a way of answering when he doesn't want to answer. Like, he's quite adroit at that.
But my biggest criticism is why, with 50 seconds left, he has 1 timeout. He never used it.
Yeah, you want to use time. None of them use timeouts very wisely. That's a big major change in that.
But I thought they hired someone in that capacity.
They should.
and I just didn't get it. And the other thing, why didn't they put more pressure on Flacco? They seemed to back off on the blitzing. I don't know what the reasoning was there. I thought they should have blitzed him even more.
They're not a blitzing team, though. That's why they're successful. They get to the quarterback with 4 and cover with 7.
But they weren't doing it in that game. They only had 2 sacks. That's my question. Why not put more pressure on Flacco? He's not a runner.
Yeah, we know he's not a runner, but boy, if you give him time.
He picked them apart. And that middle, they just don't. This has gone on for some time. They don't cover tight ends, and they get little help from their linebackers on pass coverage. They're great against the run, and not early in that game they weren't. And they're good at rushing the passer. All right, now Pickens had some good things, but he also fumbled the ball.
So he is.
Which was given a 1st and goal to 4, and then he dropped would have been a winning touchdown pass.
Yeah. I told Al, the thing that I get disgusted with him was he'll hold the ball in one hand when he fumbled. The very next pass he caught, exactly same. He's not going to learn from his mistake.
At some point, you have to have an awareness. You caught the ball. It's 1st and goal to 4. He's fighting, struggling, and he fumbles the ball. At some point, get down. You're tackled. Go down and give your team a chance to score the touchdown.
He's a super talent who's never been coachable.
No.
That's why he didn't go in the first round.
No.
Don't forget they got him in the second round. He's a first round talent. It's just who he is. In today's world, you have to deal with those.
What do you think if you told him to put two hands in the ball? He would just look at you.
Yeah, no
What are you
question.
talking about?
Well, Steelers 3-1 take on Dallas 2-2. Dallas struggled in a 20-15 win over the Giants. The run defense has issues, but don't look at what Baltimore did against them, tore them apart, and expect the Steelers run game because the Steelers offensive line is banged up. They got one healthy running back, and Najee Harris. Warren is hurt. Patterson's hurt. I don't even know the other guy's name first time I heard him come into the game. But, you know, you could look at Najee Harris and say, well, 13 carries, 19 yards. But he had no holes. There was nowhere for him to go.
I was waiting for you to get to that. You spent a lot of time on the defense. That game was lost on the offensive line.
Well, partly, but I
That's
put
what I
more
think.
blame on the defense
because they couldn't hold the ball. They couldn't keep the ball.
Right.
And the way they won early, those 3 games was ball possession, running the football. If they don't do it against Dallas is going to score.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Zach
don't care
Prescott.
who's defensive against Dallas. They score points. It's the Dallas defense.
Yeah, well,
Bad matchup for the Steelers.
I don't see
Bad
that.
matchup.
I don't see
Parsons
this.
out.
Yeah, Parsons out. Micah Parsons out with an injury. I don't see the Steelers because you can't look at what Baltimore did running the ball
No.
because there's no better duo than Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry.
Oh, my.
I don't see. So this is going to be depend on how
Tough
well
matchup for the
Fields can
Steelers.
throw the ball. I'm looking for a close game, something like there. I wouldn't be surprised Dallas would win a
I wouldn't
26-23 game.
That's high scoring for Pittsburgh.
high scoring. I think so.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah, that's high scoring for Pittsburgh.
Offensive line will be the key to this game if they can block
Listen,
Dallas.
we know this about the NFL. It's a fickle mistress. You fall in love, but you
Every
don't.
week.
You it's unpredictable. You don't know
Every week.
what's going to happen.
Albert has a saying, don't go by last week.
The NFL stands for not for long.
If you
That's
go
what
by
it stands
last
for.
week, you're in trouble.
All right, Baltimore's powerful ground attack. They punish Buffalo 35-10. Derrick Henry slowing down, 87-yard touchdown run, 199 yards rushing, and he is a bull. He just hurts guys when they tackle him. And then Lamar, 13-18 passing, 2 touchdowns, rush for 54. Well, this is a great. I love watching these guys play.
Well, they're talented, but they're 2-2. That's what I keep saying.
And 2 plays away from being 4-0. That's the
But
NFL.
they're
2-2. They're 2-2.
And everybody's talking about. I picked Baltimore to win the Super Bowl, so I'm not getting
I
off
do
of that.
too.
That's
Right,
how powerful
right.
they are. But they're 2-2, so the NFL you got to play every. You'll be excited when you win on Sunday. It's not easy to win on Sunday.
Yeah, someone was saying that when the Steelers 3-0 started. They say, hey, you remember last year the Eagles were 10-1. What they finished 11-6.
Exactly.
I
Yes.
said, you remember a few years ago, Steelers started off 11-0. They finished 12-5.
Yeah.
So don't get the bulbs that are
Every
shining
week.
brightly
Every
now.
week
They
it's a
fade
different
out at the end.
That's why you have to take advantage. Like Denver, all of a sudden, that victory looks better. They just
play
come in
defense.
and shut out the Jets, no touchdowns.
Oh yeah, they beat the Jets up. Hey, now next for Baltimore, they're at Cincy, and the Ravens favored by just 1. Cincy 34, Carolina 24. Cincy's defense gives up 25 points a game. The Ravens average 26 a game. Here's what I understand. Zach Taylor, I think he's a good coach, runs a great offense. In 6 years, he hasn't built that defense. They're soft. You can run against them. They put little pressure on a quarterback. I don't know why in 6 years hasn't he built this defense.
Well, my thoughts is Joe Burrow and Chase get all the money. You have to pay somebody, and you can't pay the whole team. They put their money on the quarterback and the wide receiver.
Yeah, they let the kid from Clareton go. They got Higgins, but they can't pay them all. I think there's something to that. If you're going to have 4 stars on offense, your defense is going to suffer because of the cap.
Arguably, they have the worst defense.
Sounds like it.
But it's a league game.
But they might beat.
Yeah,
no, that's what I'm
division.
saying. It's a league. When you're in that league, it's hard to win on the road.
And you know, these slow starts, all prompted by the fact no one plays their starters during the preseason.
Exactly.
In the National Hockey League, you look at what's going on. The Pens will open up here in a week. They play all their players in the preseason.
They're smart.
Yeah.
You got to be ready to play.
September is now August. If you watch closely, the first 4 games mirrored what used to happen in August when they had preseason games. You talked about snaps and things. That shouldn't be happening Game 5.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Hey, the Browns 1-3. The Raiders beat them 20-16. And another miserable performance by Watson. Oh, yeah, if you look, 24-32 for 176 yards. The chuck and duck offense. And to fifth-year coach Kevin Stefanski, who I think is a really good coach. He was coach of the year 2 years ago. Coach, when are you going to make this change at quarterback? Jameis Winston is waiting. Coach, Watson will succeed in two things: getting released and getting you fired.
It's interesting you say he's a good coach. They've never done anything.
He was named coach of the year.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I know.
they do that so they don't fire the guy because they can beat him twice.
But if they wanted to have a committee right now and ask us three, who should be playing quarterback? Not one of us
No.
Right.
would say Watson.
And if you pulled aside, as I said before,
Yeah.
the wide
The
receivers,
receivers, good
would
point.
you still like Flacco here?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Look what he did. Watson can't throw that deep ball anymore.
He's not.
Flacco still can't.
I never saw. Remember, he was a great quarterback one time.
Yeah.
He's a shell of
I remember
himself.
when he came there, I'm watching an exhibition game. He was
remember this
playing,
happening.
and I called Al. I said, "There's something wrong with this Watson." I said, "Remember how good he was in
Oh
Houston?
my!
Yeah.
Jeez,
So what's that old? The Browns keep doing stupid things
Yep.
and expect different results.
Yeah, definition
They
of
let,
insanity.
Baker Mayfield go. How's he doing? I think he has Tampa 3-1. They let Joe Flacco go. And this trade for Watson, maybe one of the worst trades in sports history. The Red Sox selling Babe Ruth to the Yankees.
No, it was, and the other one-
Vikings.
and the other thing too is he started all this guaranteed money for quarterbacks. They weren't doing that before. It doesn't matter. He counts like $55 million on the cap if they cut him.
Well, that trade for him helped Houston build their team to where they are.
Mhm.
Just like when Minnesota gave up a ton of draft picks for Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
How'd that work out for Dallas? 3 Super Bowls.
That's how you build.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. Yes.
Now, the NFL, after 4 weeks, Kansas City's 4-0. Guys, they just know how to win those close games. When you talk about defense, you mentioned Cincinnati. Kansas City, with all the money they have on offense, they get these young guys play defense, and they come through. Now, Jones is their big money guy.
Yeah, there's a stud
Okay.
on that defense.
Yeah, but look at the other guys. They in their Super Bowl last year, they played, 4 or 5 rookie second-year players on that Super Bowl team.
Yeah, they get lucky in the draft about 4 or 5 times. 6th and 7th round picks usually they're just special teams
Yeah,
guys.
Pacheco
Yes.
too. I mean,
Yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah.
He's one.
Yeah.
They get lucky in the draft, and Steelers used to do that. Steelers would take guys and think, why Mike Wagner? So why would Donnie Shell? We're going way back, but I'm saying that's how Kansas City. They're taking 6th round picks and make them into players. Just sometimes they're blessed. They're not playing well though.
No,
they're
No.
winning.
but
But
they
then-
easily could have
that's-
lost.
That's not going to
all
keep
three.
going.
This
Yeah.
much it would by
Baltimore.
inches lost to Baltimore.
Yeah, because he was
and
going
Cincinnati,
for 2. Yeah.
that penalty, I don't know what you
It's a bad call.
I thought it was a bad
It was a
call.
bad call.
He stumbled
Oh.
into the guy.
And-
even they
In
brought
Atlanta.
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, he had his arms around
No,
him.
that was in the end zone.
And you talked about Cincinnati. It was short of the sticks.
Yeah, they
Let
win the
it
game.
go.
They win the game. They
Yes.
win the game 25-23.
Yes.
They lose
Yes.
26-25.
Yes.
Now, the biggest surprise of the year is that Minnesota 4-0 quarterback Sam Darnold, who when he was with the Jets, they gave him no weapons whatsoever with a horrible offensive line. Man, is he playing well now. And Coach Kevin O'Connell, what a terrific job he's done with Minnesota. Both sides of the ball. And they won at Green Bay 31-29.
Yeah, I have a theory on that, and I'll say it all the time. I think all 32 quarterbacks are good in the NFL. The ones that look bad are the ones that go get no blocking. And the proof is Darnold. He looks like, was he the same guy with the Jets?
Hey.
Well, he was running for his life. He
Right,
take the
right.
snap. Now he goes
And
back
no
and stands
receiver.
there.
And-
Has Jefferson
Hey, the
throw
receiver
to.
doesn't
Yes.
And you know what all this does?
But it's all blocking.
It allows him to show off his arm. He has a
They all can
great
throw. They all
arm.
can throw
Yeah.
the ball. It's
He said he saw ghosts of the Jets. That's how little time he had.
Hey, the biggest disappointments. There's something wrong in Philadelphia. They're 2-2. Nick Sirianni. I watched their Atlanta game. Here he go again. What was the coach for the Chargers who refused to kick field
Yes.
goals?
Yeah, he's
he
out
got
too.
fired. Twice he passed up field goals in the red zone
Yes.
against Atlanta. Atlanta went down, kicked the field goal to beat him 22-21. Those 2 field goals, they win that game. And there's something wrong with Jalen Hurts. He is struggling. He's regressing.
I heard they can't be in the same room.
What?
He and the coach.
Oh.
That's the pretty out of Philly. I read a lot of
And
stuff.
then they put Pickett in. He didn't do anything either.
No.
Going
There's
back to those
something
field goals,
wrong
do you
there.
understand? It's just not. It's everybody. Harbaugh did it the other day. It's George said the analytics have.
They have guys in their ear. They have guys in their ear, Eddie, telling them, kick
It's
this.
time that it's time not to go for this. It's
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So no coaching is being done on the field. It's driving me nuts. That's what you're paid to be.
I
The
think
head
the
coach.
coaching is. I was talking with Terry Henry. I said, would Chuck Noll pass up his field goals? He said he'd have strangled someone if you didn't kick the field goal.
But it used to be all old fashioned. But it ain't.
Yeah.
Harbaugh's 60 years old and he's doing it now.
Yeah.
It's just analytics is taking over completely.
Yeah.
How
How about down 14? How about down 14? You go for 2 to cut it to
have another night again?
Yeah.
And
It
is
makes
there
it eight.
is there a
Makes it
bigger disappointment than Jacksonville over 0-4 Wonder Boy Trevor Lawrence? What's going on with him? He's not taking that step to the next level. Is it him? Is it coaching? Is it the receiver? I'm not sure what's going on. The results just aren't there.
I'll repeat myself. I just said 2 minutes ago. When you start looking at the defense instead of the receivers, you become a lousy quarterback. He's seeing the rush. The rush isn't getting to him. But when you say seeing Ghost George,
That's what he said.
when you start seeing that, you can't play quarterback in the NFL.
You know, when his first year and his second year, he's making that progress. Maybe he was playing, wasn't thinking. He seems to be thinking too much now.
Yeah, he's seeing the defense. He's seeing the line.
Now, the biggest surprise and a joy to watch is Washington and quarterback Jalen Daniels, 3-1, and he's just been amazing. He can run. Remember last year in the draft, I said ProFootball.com said he had the best deep pass, strongest arm of anyone coming out of the draft.
Well, it was easy to see right now for sure. We said it on the show that he was the best of the bunch.
Yeah.
And he's standing out. And what he can do is get out of trouble. You know, that's what Fields can do. Fields is really good. That's what you can do. You get out of trouble, you can play the game.
Just can't be a runner.
No.
No.
And be smart, except with Anthony Richardson. You got to slide.
Yeah.
You can't put your head down. But Josh Allen does too much.
Yeah.
He shouldn't do.
I'm going to I already said to George already, Jackson's going to be out in 3 games. You'll be reading Lamar Jackson out for 5 games. He keeps running that ball up them.
But I noticed he's starting to slide a little more.
He better.
I noticed he's sliding
He
a little
better.
more.
He better.
All right. And now let's go to the NFL, the National Flag League. The official color is yellow.
Oh, jeez.
You can't return a kickoff or a punt return without a flag being thrown.
How many times, George, I call you?
How about the one crew? In the first 3 games, this crew threw 50 flags in 3 games. I mean, it's ridiculous
Eddie,
anymore.
If there's a touchdown and you're watching the game, you automatically think,
You look behind.
where's the yellow flag?
This-
Because it's coming out.
I watch the offensive line. Honest to God, guys. Every play you could throw a holding call. So when
Quit calling them.
But what my point is, they do it at their own discretion. Whenever they feel like doing it. Because you watch, there's someone doing this every play.
Yeah.
There's someone
play.
They
doing
had
this.
Watt the other
Okay.
day twice. They had him around the waist.
Yeah. So what drives me crazy, it's a run on the left side over here,
Yeah.
and the tight end on the
Yeah.
right side is thrown
Yeah.
for a holding
Yeah.
call.
And
Don't
you're talking
Why?
to the guy who hates it more than anything.
Don't throw it.
Poor George takes the venting from me every week. I say, you can't watch an NFL game.
No,
Because
Al always
because-
says they don't call it the Super Bowl.
they
Right.
don't.
My-
My Super Bowl, they have 10 penalties.
And my point is, I tell the guys, hey, just fair catch a punt.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
don't return the kickoff.
no.
What's the point? You
No,
get
they-
the ball at the 30.
No, they kick them out most of the time anyway. They're kicking into that zone.
All right, let's finish this. Major League Baseball, the Pirates, the consistency of failure under the ownership of now Bob Nuttingless. The Pirates 76-86, same as last year. 28th losing season in the last 4 years. Don't expect anything to change. And this
Next year, Eddie.
no,
You
won't
heard
be.
me. You
Okay,
heard
let's.
me.
All right.
Everybody else will.
How about this year?
They'll say, Campman, how'd you know?
We talked about this. The revolving door in this roster is like a who's who. You turn on the game, and who's this guy? Never heard of him. Now they got excited 2 weeks ago. They signed a 29-year-old relief pitcher from the Washington Wild Things because he was a Pitt grad. But let's go to how they really operate with the Rowdy Tellez deal. I don't feel sorry for him. He made $3.2 million this year. He's made like $15 million in his career. But it's how the Pirates do business and what they tell you. Ben Cherington said the release of him with 6 games to go had zero to do with that $200,000 bonus. How can he lie like that
They're lying.
to you? And he was the same GM that 2 months ago said, our shortstop of the future is Onel Cruz.
They're lying.
The next week he was in center field.
Yeah.
So here, when you let someone like Tellez go, what free agent wants to come here?
True story.
Who wants to come
No,
here?
you're right. We talked
and-
about this.
Now, their attendance this year, 1.7 million. Thank you, Paul Skeens. He is the best pitcher in the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball America.
That's why they're going to win next year.
Baseball America and named him Rookie of the Year. I think he should be Cy Young. Chris Sales had a great year, but he's out for the playoffs. Right? He's hurt. And the thing with Skeens, he's going to be a Yankee in 5 years.
Still, that's a long time.
That's a long time. Let's pray he stays healthy, but he's going to command $30 million a year.
Oh, I think you're concerned.
And the thing is, Brian Reynolds, what are you doing there? He's a heck of a good outfielder. He's at first base one game, back in the outfield. They got so many holes to fill, Albert. I don't know where the players have come from. Reynolds had a nice year, 24 homers,
Nice
88 RBIs.
Yeah,
He's a
good
nice. But so many questions. What are you going to do at McCutcheon? He finished 232.
One more year? One more
Don't worry
year?
about one
20
more.
homers?
You know,
Yeah, he's definitely worth coming back.
Yeah.
we're I think of the potential starting pitchers, but that bullpen needs fixed.
I don't
And-
think so. Now, it depends what. Now, remember, if your boy doesn't pitch good, that's your boy. He was so
Yeah,
lousy.
I don't. You know what? I think they rushed him through the injury. I'm going to come to his defense.
I
Pushed
knew you
him
would.
too fast.
I knew you would.
Well, I mean, look what he did the 2 years.
I know
before
that. Well,
He was
you asked what I
tremendous.
said. That's what I think he's going. He's going to come back and play like he's supposed to. The whole. This would happen this year, by the way.
Where the hitters coming
would
from?
I'm just telling you. Listen, they really, and most of us did. Swazinski and Hayes, they thought were going to be really two nice players. They let them down mightily. No one could have predicted both of them would
Okay.
hit the tank.
So they need a first baseman. They need two more outfielders.
No, Hayes,
possibly.
Reynolds is going to go
Reynolds
first
going
base.
first base.
Okay, end of that discussion. Hey, let's finish with this. Congratulations to number 9 Slippery Rock University. They beat Edinburgh 28-23 after scoring 28 points.
They're doing it with their defense. How about that? Their offense.
They had to hold off Edinburgh's 23 points.
Yeah.
So the Rock moves on. Big game coming up at IUP 4-0. And in Division 3, number 8 Grove City beat Allegheny 58-7. Next up, they're at Bethany.
Another 58.
Another 58.
Hey, that's it for us. We're glad to be back. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
What you doing?
I'm gonna fix that toilet.
A sledgehammer.
Hey, you never know.
Maybe we should call a plumber.
No, I got this.
At Armstrong Comfort Solutions, our professional plumbers and service techs are standing by to help with all your plumbing and HVAC needs.
Everything okay down there?
Maybe I should call Armstrong Comfort Solutions.
Armstrong Comfort Solutions, where comfort is our middle name.
Sure, 5G home internet sounds great. But those plans are based on your cell phone coverage. That means if you have no signal inside your home, you have no Wi-Fi either. Plus, they can slow you down when too many people are online. It's all in the fine print. With Zoom from Armstrong, you get what you pay for. Speed, reliability, and coverage in every single room of your house. Compare other internet providers to Armstrong and see the difference an unmatched fiber network makes.